Welcome to Inside the Box, the channel that takes you out of the real world and puts you into the world of imagination. Every week, we dive deep into anything media. That means TV shows, movies, anime, and comic books. Whether you love the show MobLand or you're a fan of Doctor Who, we got you covered. This is a place to break free from the outside world and look at the world inside the box. Let's get started. I'm your host, Cody.
And I'm your host, Mac.
Mac, what you got in your hands right now?
It's my Lego Ninjago.
Ninjago.
I never expected it to go so far deep into lore when it first came out. I think we were in middle school when it first came out?
Yeah.
It's craziness. I'm sorry, I just built this.
What would you take? Ninjago or Bionicles?
That's bringing it back.
Ooh,
back.
Yeah. That's some OG stuff.
In all honesty, I'd have to go Ninjago just because I remember it more, and because their toys are cooler.
I feel like, did Bionicle have the Legos? Was that a Lego brand, or was that separate?
I want to say it was a Lego brand, but the toys weren't like blocks like Legos were. But I could be completely wrong.
I know, yeah, they were. They were not blocks. They were. They had like their own joints and stuff, but it was indeed Lego. I feel like Bionicle was the predecessor for Ninjago.
Oh, most definitely, because they had like their own elemental like clans, I guess you would say, and everything like that.
Yeah,
so it was most definite. But, Ninjago's toys.
I remember
are just pretty
having
cool.
those. Yeah, Ninjago's pretty cool in general. Did they ever make a video game for Ninjago? The same way they make they have Lego Star Wars, Indiana Jones, that kind of stuff.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I
want to say they did just because it's so popular, but I haven't played it.
Yeah,
they did make one.
That's fair. I'm trying to get back into video games, so I'm scoping out my market right now. Which, before we get into all that, that's part of my Inside the Box. Let's start with our box battles. Mac, we got today the face of Nickelodeon. So, do you want to start? Do you want to do like both of our secondary and tertiary picks? Our second and third place?
Yeah, we can, because I made like a whole like Mount Rushmore type thing. Yeah. But I do have a face. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, a face for it.
Yeah, I do have a face. But
cool. All right. What was your tertiary pick? Let's go with your number 3.
Okay, so my number 3, I would have to go with Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think number 3.
Solid. As much as I love Avatar, Avatar is probably one of my favorite shows, I didn't put it in my podium. For my number 3, went with All That. Do you remember the show All That? It's like it's not a spinoff, but like it's a kid's version of SNL.
Yeah.
But that's where like Amanda Bynes, Kenan and Kel, Drake and Josh, like everybody got their start. I'm like, it's almost like that's why I didn't put it as my number 1. I felt like it was a little cheap because the show All That was really popular, but the spinoffs are what made Nickelodeon.
I feel like that's like a founding block for Nickelodeon, most definitely.
Yeah, no, exactly. Definitely. That's why it's my number 3.
And then what makes that also like it's like I feel like it's a generational thing. Like I don't think for like Mathia would like know what that is. But he would know what iCarly, Drake and Josh is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, exactly. All right, what about number 2? What you got for number 2?
My number 2 is Rugrats.
Oh, Rugrats is actually, spoiler alert, Rugrats is my number 1.
Yeah. So that was your face?
Yes, that's my face.
That's your face. Okay, I can see that. Yeah. I can see that. One of the reasons why I didn't put Rugrats as my number 1 is it felt very generational. Like it was a founding block of Nickelodeon, which is like why it's up there. But I feel like it's so generational to where it's just like locked in with like the generations who watched it.
Yeah.
To where I feel like the generations afterwards wouldn't really know what it is unless they went back and watched it. Like I love Fairy Odd Parents and Neutron and Danny Phantom, But like the generations who didn't watch it or the generations that came after that wouldn't really know what I'm talking about.
They would probably know Fairly Odd Parents, but that's just because all the failed reboots they had. They should have
Yeah.
let Fairly Odd Parents back in our generation instead of just keep bringing it back. I'm going to guess your number one is going to be my number two because it was very close to being my number one, and that is SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Yeah. SpongeBob, honestly, it might be a better face internationally. I feel like when you think internationally, you know, I take it back. SpongeBob has to be my number one because when I'm thinking like parades too. When you do like parades in like the Thanksgiving parade and New Year's parades, they usually have a SpongeBob balloon going, but not many people know about Rugrats anymore. So
And then
I say
they
like,
just
I
came
agree
out with
with
the
you.
movie too, I think. Like I wanna say last
With
year
yeah,
or something like that.
they constantly
Yeah.
have moved, and I haven't seen SpongeBob in a fat minute, but they constantly have like new movies with like the 3D animation coming out,
Mm,
and they had the Patrick spinoff. But I think
well,
more than that is the quotability of
oh
SpongeBob
yeah, most
is
definite.
just. I even this week I was at work and I would hear like someone quote SpongeBob, and I was like, yeah,
SpongeBob,
SpongeBob,
man.
SpongeBob Patrick,
SpongeBob, man.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just like
So
I felt like it was Rugrats. I think it came a little bit after Rugrats, but I felt like it was such a foundation of what Nickelodeon is. It lasted so long, and then it's still being created today.
yeah.
But I just feel like it's also one of those shows where like people would go back and watch the seasons or the episodes that they grew up on, and
Mm-hmm.
they'd be okay with that.
Mm,
And then like again, like you could
yeah.
just pass it on to like the next generation, and then just like keep moving forward. And somehow it does just keep moving forward. But
Mm. If you had to name one of your top SpongeBob episodes, what would it be?
I don't remember what the episode is called. But the hack slasher where like he's
I
like,
was about to say
that's
that the hash
yeah,
slinging, the
that's
hash
probably the
bringing.
one I remember the most in my
Yeah,
head. So
I say that one, and then where they go and they play for the Super Bowls and like the Bubble Bowl.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that one with his big meaty claws. In a previous episode on this podcast, I even mentioned that one, and I was like, that one I say so often in general, or just like, just there's so many. Like, he's standing there menacingly. He's like, I wumbo, you wumbo, he, she, we wumbo. I could quote SpongeBob all day. So I have to say, yeah, that probably is the face of Nickelodeon, at least for me and you, I would say, and just in general, like of this one had the biggest impact slash continuity.
Like,
Rugrats, though, as my second pick,
mhm.
I just remember the impact it was in the generation that it was at. Like
Yeah,
when Rugrats, there's like two movies that came out with it, and everybody was going crazy. The VHS
the
that was
orange.
orange,
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, yeah. So that's why I think that generation Rugrats for me, I'm like, oh, generationally wise, if you had to like put everything of popular generation, I see Rugrats during its peak was more popular than SpongeBob,
Yeah.
but SpongeBob outlived
Yeah.
Rugrats.
I would say my third pick, Avatar. I think if Legend of Korra was more loved, I can see like the
Mm,
Avatar world, like not Aang specifically, but like the where they have like the square and like each symbol of like the elements in it. I can see like that being like some of the things that people see first. But I also didn't
mm,
want to pick Avatar because even when I like think of Avatar, I'm like, is it a part of Nickelodeon? Like it's so good and it's so like I want to say different from the stories they tell, but it's one of those like you would think first, oh, it's like Cartoon Network with like Ben 10 era and stuff like that. So I'm thinking like Cartoon Network before I think Nickelodeon. So I don't, that's just me when I think of Avatar: Last Airbender. I have to like remind myself it is a Nickelodeon like project.
that's fair. Whenever I think Avatar, like it's definitely in my like top five favorite Nickelodeon shows. But after, and there's some people that haven't even heard of Avatar, but if I'm like, oh, have you heard of SpongeBob? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, have you heard of Rugrats? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like anything. If I pick a show that's spin off from all that, most of like the older generation will remember all that. But if I pick a show like Drake and
Drake and
Josh,
Josh, most definite.
iCarly, Keenan and Kel,
Zoe
people were like, oh
101.
yeah, Zoe 101. Yeah. What a show. All right. That's pretty solid. Both picked SpongeBob. So after that, do you want to start with your inside the box? What's got you inside the box
I
this week?
can. I can. All right. I'm gonna let my notes real quick. Yeah, I still write stuff down. All right. First off, I'm going with the Netflix original called Nonas. I was like, what is this? The only reason why I did watch it is because Vince Vaughn, he was like the main character esque person in there. And I'm like, oh, I had to give this a shot. And essentially,
Did you watch Bad Monkeys when it came out with Vince Vaughn?
I did not. I started it and
Oh,
then like I
dude.
fell off like watching other stuff. And I'm like, I keep telling myself I gotta go back, but I just
Yeah,
have
you gotta
not
go
went
back
back yet.
because
Yeah,
that's yeah. I love Vince Vaughn. My mom loves Vince Vaughn. He's just like a funny dude.
most definitely.
I didn't know Nonos existed, so I'm gonna have to add it to my list to watch. He says on Netflix.
Yep, Netflix
All right,
original. But
what's Nonos about?
so essentially like his mom passes away and he has to like find his way. Like he doesn't really know what to do, what he wants to do, and then he has this idea, this epiphany when he goes to like kind of like flea market esque farmers market that he used to go with his mom and grandma like back in the day when he was a kid. And he sees this building and he's like, restaurant idea. And it's essentially his restaurant idea is essentially to hire other nonas and they put like their like dishes, like their family dishes that were passed down and like their like menus on their menu and stuff like that. So they pick like 2 or 3 dishes. And then there's like a Nona that like specializes in like bakery and like desserts and stuff. And then like they have like their own like salt, like their family sauces and stuff like that. And like they put it on the menu. And that's like his idea. So like when people come, they actually feel like family. They actually feel like their grandmas are cooking for them again and stuff like that. And so the premise is like, will the restaurant work out? Will it fail? Is he gonna lose all his money? Is he like, is gonna be like, oh, he tried it and then it didn't work? So it's a good, nice little lighthearted movie. Definitely, I say go watch it. It's really, really, really awesome. Next on my list is I am going to go with the 2 movies that actually came out earlier this year in February. 2 Valentine movies. One just dropped on Peacock. I rewatched it, and then another one dropped on Netflix. The one on Peacock is Love Hurts, and the one on Netflix is Heart's Eye Killer. I'm gonna go with the slasher one first, so that we end on a good note. Heart's Eye Killer is essentially, like I said, a slasher. It takes from like Scream and all that and everything that you want to say. The one reason why I watched it is it had my girl in there, Olivia Holt. I feel like I haven't seen her in a good bit of stuff. I was like, that's kicking it. You gotta watch it. So I definitely cut it on, and it was good. It was good. I was kind of glad I didn't go watch it in the theaters, but it was definitely like a straight to DVD s type straight to streaming. So I can see people liking it because it's like it's not a killer that just like shows up every that does like killing throughout the year. It shows up on Valentine's Day, specifically that day, and it kills in like a different city, which I think is like pretty cool and everything like that. And then like his mask has like night vision and stuff like that and everything. And then excuse me, but yeah, so like it was good and it wasn't good. Like one of the things that was making me so mad is the city or like the town where they're at knows Heart's Eye Killer is in their city and town, all right? But people still go out. Like the couples are like, I'm still gonna go this drive. Nah, babe, nah, babe. We just gonna come over to
Stupid.
my house and we're just gonna have
And
Valentine's Day here.
I bet it's white people too.
It was white people, black people, man. I'm
Of
just
course,
like,
it's
stay. Why are you guys out? You guys know at least after this day or weekend, you're good. You're goaded. You can go out. But nah, you know he's in your city and town. You're just like, nah, I'm still gonna go out on Valentine's Day and wait for the Heartside Killer to kill me or whatever. no, just stay indoors, celebrate next week. And that's what was just like. I was so bad because I was just like, why are you guys even out? Why are you guys even out? Doesn't make any sense. But
That's like for Halloween with like all the stuff for Michael Myers. I'm like, bro, take a vacation at the beginning of like October and then don't come back
I'm
until
saying,
like Thanksgiving or some shit. I'd be leaving. Make sure don't even tell nobody. Like pick a new destination there every year.
just dip out, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm good at it. If I lived in that town, if I wasn't the main actress, if I wasn't Jamie Lee Curtis and her family, I'm like, you know what? I'm just not gonna be in this town or near. I'm gonna move. I'm
right.
just not. Yeah, I refuse to live in a town that has a serial killer that comes back every year. No,
It's not
pick another
like
town.
it happens. No, you know it's gonna happen within this time frame. You know what? I'm
Yeah,
not gonna be here within that time frame. Like, come on. But another reason why I watched it is because it has dude from the new Scream movies. Mason Goody. I also think I want to say he's like the son of. Cannot think of his name right now, but I'm pretty sure he's also a nepo baby. Which I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. He's good. I believe he's also acknowledged that he is. So that also makes it better when they kind of acknowledge that they are, at least in my opinion. But he plays in the Scream movies, and I'm
you
like,
mean he's the son of damn Cuba Gooding Jr.?
okay, yeah, there I knew he's so. Thank you, Cody, for looking that up. But like, he was in Scream. I'm like, oh, of course you're gonna watch it. He's been in other slasher movies. Like, bam, yeah. The other actress that like made me watch it is Mia from Fast and Furious. I think it's named like Jordana Brewster. I hope I said her name right. I was like, I'm gonna watch that too. I feel like I haven't seen her in anything else besides Fast and Furious. They all played wonderful. They played their parts in there well. I would definitely say go give it a watch. Like, if you like slasher movies, I feel like you should have went to go watch it in the movie theaters. If you don't, or you just like slasher movies, you want to chill at your house, it's a good movie to go watch on Netflix. And then Love Hurts. Love Hurts. I remember watching it in movie theaters and being like, this is pretty good. And then I watch it on Peacock and I'm like, it's still just pretty good. Like, I can see why people disliked the movie, and then I can see why people liked the movie. It had like a good premise of like he wanted to get out the life, he let his last kill live, he's like changing up his life, and then Homegirl just fucking pops out of nowhere and it's like, nah, bruh, hiding ain't living. I'm like, I don't know, he was living a pretty good life. Like, I feel like he was living up there. And then like even like the side characters, like Marshawn Lynch's character, and then like his co actor, I think they're like Otis and King. I think they were called. They were like vibing off of each other so well, like their dialogue and one
Yeah.
another, their fighting sequences and everything. I was just like, oh, okay, that's good, that's good. And then I think like his assistant and Raven, like they have like a nice little like love story of their own and everything like that. I was like, all right, that's good, that's good.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, the main character, freaking I don't even know how to say his name, K1 Khan.
Ki Hui Kwan.
K1 Khan, thank you. He
Ki
plays.
Hui Kwan.
I'm just gonna let you say it. He plays in everything, everywhere, all at once. Then he plays in this. I
Yep.
mean, that's already like a I gotta go watch it because he's in it type S.
Yeah.
And then my guy from the freaking Badlands, I didn't even recognize him in the trailers until I got to the movie theater. I was like, oh, that's homeboy Daniel Wu. He plays the brother Knuckles. I was like, of course. I was like, I'm glad I went and watched it because the dude, if you haven't seen Badlands, go watch Badlands. I think it's still on Netflix, 3 seasons. Badass TV show. All straight hands, but they have like superpower esque type things. But yeah, great. But I can see. Go ahead.
Did you know that the guy that plays like his boss with the cowboy hat? Do you know who that is?
You talking about the guy from Never Back Down? Oh no, the cowboy. Are you talking about the real estate guy?
Real estate guy.
Yeah,
Real estate guy.
yeah, I cannot think of his name right now, but I was like, dude, I've
Sean
seen him in so
Austin.
much stuff. I was like, damn. But yeah,
You know, like the biggest. I mean, because he's been in some other
because
movies. Like I
he
feel
was
like
that's
depends
the
on.
Hob, not the Hob. He is yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. All right,
yeah.
making sure.
He's Samwise.
All right, all
Yeah,
right, all right, all
Samwise.
right.
But he's been like he's every time he pops up in movies, I'm like, hey, it's him from Lord of the Rings. But another thing for it that just to bring up for Ki Hui Kwan is they were both in the Goonies together.
Oh,
It
damn.
was Sean Astin was Mikey in the Goonies, and then Ki Hui Kwan was Data in the Goonies.
Damn. I knew
So
Kiwi was in it
yeah,
just from like Everything Everywhere All at Once was playing it and he was talking about it and stuff. But I did not remember Homeboy being in it. Yeah. Fuck yeah. That makes this
yeah,
movie
and the
even
dude from Never
cooler.
Back Down. Yeah, I love this movie made for the cast. I'm like
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch, freaking even the Leo Tipton, the female actress. I've seen her in so many things as well, and also with Cam Gigantet. I suck at pronouncing his name, but the guy from Never Back Down. I'm like, I haven't seen him in so
Yeah. Oh
long,
my
and he
god.
still plays a
Yeah.
douchebag.
Hey. One of the reasons why I like him so much is not even from Never Back Down. I think it's The Unborn. It's the horror movie The Unborn. And he plays the boyfriend of the main character chick. And I am like, no, I would have straight left her. Because at the end, I believe it is a spoiler. It's been out for like over 2 decades. If you haven't watched it, that's your fault. At the end, like her twin brother is like basically coming back to haunt her. And I believe it's like, I want to say it's in a church or like a building with like a second story. He comes back when all the haunting and like the dudes like lifting her. I am like, no, bro, you are a dedicated boy. Not even a husband, it's a boyfriend. I am like, you are a dedicated boyfriend. There's no way I would have came back. And like, I liked him and Never Back Down, but then I was like, so he can play both sides. I was like, this dude needs more stuff. Because then he also plays a douchebag in the Magnificent Seven reboot with Denzel Washington as the main
Mm-hmm.
character in it. But yeah, like he's playing a lot of stuff. I like him too. But I am like, the cast is what drew me in to watch
Oh
this
yeah,
movie because the cast was wonderful, the acting was wonderful, the storyline was okay. The fighting
yeah. That's
sequences
what I'd
were good,
say.
but it was also just okay.
Yeah, for me, it felt like a spiritual successor of like a Jackie Chan like
Mm,
buddy cop film. Of he's just like very comedic kung fu in a sense, where like Jackie Chan he's getting older. God bless his soul, 72 years old. Ki Hui Kwan is 53, but he's just now getting back in front of the camera when before he was a film choreographer for a lot of fighting movies. And I'm like, he's like, this is his time to shine. Like
yeah.
after everything everywhere all at once. So every time I see him, I'm like, all right, I'm watching it. Like whatever it is, I'm giving it a go. He was in America Born Chinese as like he played like the guy that played a child actor and then became a stereotype actor.
Mm.
If you remember that. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah, that is him.
yeah. So like
Yeah.
all the stuff that I see him play, I'm like, give this man his
Yeah.
flowers. I'm like, this man deserves it.
I think like what kind of killed me in the fighting sequences with this was when like like when they brought in guns and I'm like this is America so they would have guns, but it was like when they brought in guns and the like is that when I was just like oh man, because when him and Raven have to fight in the office I'm like this is awesome, this is crazy awesome gorgeous, him using like the pillows and everything like that I was like oh my gosh, him trying to like throw the feather knife and everything I was like oh my gosh like the fight sequences are good until I feel like the guns kind of appeared because it was just like oh man I felt like it lost the sense of like using the environment around them and then having to have like the hand-to-hand combat style that's to it. I don't know, that's just me. But yeah, it was good. It was good. I am glad it was to go watch it in theaters, and I'm glad it's on streaming, so I can rewatch it now. But yes, on Peacock, go watch it, guys. Sorry it took so long with those. All right. My next thing I'll start with, I'm gonna go with the Sideways comic. It's came back. I think came out in 2018. And I remember starting it, but I think I only bought like the first two issues, and then I never finished it. So now I'm like restarting it on, not bootlegging it or pirating or anything. I'm definitely getting it on a legal digital site, of course. But yeah, it's like only 12. It's only like 12 issues. I'm on like issue number 5, and he's definitely giving like Static and Spider-Man esque feels to it. I'm surprised they didn't go more with this character. Like, I'm surprised he's not in more stuff. I feel like he's getting the Duke Thomas treatment, to where it's like, hey, we do have this because I want to say, I don't even want to like butcher what his like religion, like culture and everything is, because he's adopted. He is adopted, but I think I want to say he's like Indian, but I could be completely wrong. but I mean, he has both parents, unlike Static and Peter. But to say he does. So he's not that trope in there. It's not that trope in there. But like he's like self like video like vlogging and stuff like that. I guess like trying to get money and likes, like become a superhero esque stuff like that. You see his rogues gallery getting built up and everything with it. You even see Hot Spot in one of the issues that you see in there. So he has like an interview for like this one job that his mom was able to like get for him, but they're really like the bad guys, but nobody knows that yet except for us because we're the readers. He has his power is essentially like he's able to cut through time and space and like teleport where he wants to, but then also like the edges of like his portal, like they're like kind of like indestructible as far as we know because like they split a bus in half that's thrown to him, so he can use it in different ways too if he like learns how to use it. But he and then there's like this I forgot there's like another outer dimensional being that's like, bro, there's these other things that are like tearing up space, and they thought it was him, but it's not him. So they want to like try and get him to, I guess, learn how to use his power so he can help like cut and close all those other portals out. It seems like. Again, I'm only on like issue 4 or 5, so give me some time to read this, guys. But again, I'm just like, this dude seems like he would have been a really good Static character if they didn't, if DC didn't want to go with Static, or Duke Tom's character if they didn't want to go Duke Tom's, or like a Cassandra Cain character if they didn't want to. And it's just like they did it because he has like the Spider-Man element to it. Like even his suit kind of reminds you of Spider-Man esque element to it. And then like he's just a young 16, 17-year-old guy. I think like only one other person knows who he is, and that's like his best friend. It's again like that Spider-Man and Static esque to it, street level type hero so far. And it's just like, how did they go 12 issues and then cut him off? I don't know. It's crazy to me. But so far, so good. I mean, hopefully next week I'll be done by it and I can give y'all my final thoughts on it. Moving on, we are going to go with Kim's Convenience. That came out in like 2018, I believe, and stopped in like 2021, 5 seasons. I'm actually on the 5th season. I've just kind of been like binge watching it and watching it at work without time and stuff. It's such a good 30-minute laughter family sitcom type show. It's like 13 episodes per season, so it's not super long. It has Simu Lee in it, Shang-Chi, but then my favorite character is Appa because he also plays Uncle Iroh in the live action Avatar The Last Airbender on Netflix.
My favorite episode of Kim's Convenience is the judo episode. Have you seen that one yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just Kim's Convenience is hilarious.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like based in Canada and everything like that. There was like episodes where Simu Lee's character was down in LA, and I'm like, I wonder if that's what he was filming for Shang-Chi. I'm like, it seems like it was. But yeah, it's very good so far. It seems like they kind of canceled it. I don't know if people like didn't watch it, but it seems like it canceled like a cliffhanger. Like they didn't fully get to like end the show like they didn't want to. Again, I'm not finished with it, but like seeing season 5, it seems like it's also not gonna get to, not say perfect ending, but a good, like a great ending to where it's like, hey, this is all the story you have to say about this family, and then cuts off. I don't know. That's just what it feels like so far. And it could just because like all the actors were just kind of like going off to different projects and everything. Because it seems like this is where a lot of those actors kind of got their, not their start, but it's like their, I guess, break, their big break. Like this was like, oh, this is where everybody got to see them into something. And then they just like had other projects in it. But yeah, great 5 seasons, 13 episodes per season, 30 minutes per episode. So you can watch it on Netflix. I would say my next thing, Star Wars Underworld. It's an animated series, and I guess it's kind of like the next installment of like because that's Star Wars, Tales of the Jedi, and then Star Wars. I forgot what the other one was, but Star Wars Tales of the Jedi was the first like installment. Then there's one in between that, and then Star Wars Underworld, and they're not like, it's not, at least this one doesn't seem like it, because I think like episode 1 and 2 are connected, but it seems like every other episode or every episode, it seems like, are like different stories of like different characters in like the Star Wars world. And to me, I like that. I don't get me wrong, I like the Skywalkers, but I am like, can we see other shit that's in this world? And so I like being able to see that. Like Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, I think is like the first episode, I believe, was about like Ahsoka when she was just born. Like her mom goes off on like this hunt because that's like a part of their like culture and religion and stuff. And there's like this big alien saber tooth tiger s thing that like Ahsoka meets. I forgot how they get separated, but like Ahsoka meets and like she somehow, I guess because he has the force, is like able to like kind of calm it down and like she's freaking riding it back to the village and stuff. And I'm just like, we would have never seen that if they just focus on the Skywalkers. I'm like, I'm so glad like this actually is showing like other stuff and like other characters and other planets and other worlds and everything. So far, so good. I like these installments of it. And last but not least, I know I've been going on for a minute. Last but not least, Doctor Who dropped another episode this week. It was done. Essentially, I'm just gonna give you this synopsis. There, we're gonna go fast. But the Doctor goes back to Earth, I think 2019 or something like that. I want to say, and he goes to this barber shop in Africa that he feels like he's like safe in, and feels like his home because he's never been a black guy before. And he's like, even though he saved Earth so many times, him being like a black guy, he's like, I like being in this body, I'm being like treated differently to places I've already been to. And so he's like, when he came to this barbershop, he's always felt safe at home. And so he goes to this barbershop and he gets locked in by this entity. And so like this entity, whenever you get a cut, you have to tell a story to feed their vehicle that's like taking them somewhere. It's crazy. So it's like, they're like, when'd you get the haircut? And like the haircut's done, the hair will grow back super fast. So then like somebody has to sit in the chair, tell the story, and then like it feeds the vehicle again, and then like they like move on. It's really really good because like you don't really know who the barber is. They say they're like the Anissa. I think I might be saying it wrong. Anissa is like the African spider god of like tricksters and like storytelling. Oh, but then it's also like Saga, which is like the Norse goddess of storytelling. Where they'll be like Loki, and it's like all the gods and goddesses and pantheons that are like tricksters and storytellers. That says that's who it is. But is it? Is it not? I don't know. Go watch it on Disney Plus and you might figure it out. But yes, that's all that's got me inside the box. What's got you inside the box this week, Cody?
All right, I am going to start off in what's least got me inside the box and make my way down. That is, I've been watching Windbreaker still. I mentioned it previously in a podcast. Dope anime for a lot of good fighting scenes. This season so far, 6 episodes thus far. The first 2 episodes, great fighting scenes. The next 4 episodes are very character development like based. There's no fighting whatsoever. So is I guess it's up to you of what you want to watch it for. It's all right. It's just going off the character and like kind of making them grow a little bit more. I'm hoping it builds up to more fighting. But I haven't been as enthralled every week of being like, oh yeah, there's a new episode, let's go. It's more like, oh yeah, there's a new episode. All right,
I
let me
know
watch
that
it so I
feeling.
can. Yeah, I'm hoping more fights coming out. So, but I'm still gonna mention it because season 1 was amazing, and the first 2 episodes of season 2 were amazing. Secondary to that, still watching One Piece. I am making my way through Wano still. Right now, I'm on Odin's background story. Odin is probably one of my favorite characters that have came out of like nowhere, where he's like the main. He used to be the shogun's son of the land of Wano, and then his entire life he wanted to just leave the island, and the island has a big law of like you cannot leave the island basically. Eventually, he does. He gets to meet some very legendary pirates, including Whitebeard and Roger, and he gets to sail with them. And it's basically about like, his background of that. And then whenever he comes back to Wano and comes back to see that um, the Shogun Orichi, who's the bad guy, has taken over. So even if you don't watch One Piece, try and find like if you know like the precipice of like who's Whitebeard and who's Goldie Roger, you can go and watch the Odin story, and it's like a little mini. I'd say like 12 episodes of just like good adventure. I'm like,
Cool.
so anybody that's like wants to watch a little bit of what One Piece is, you can watch the Odin story of One Piece. After that, MobLand. We've mentioned it on. You mentioned it, brought it up whenever it premiered. I don't know. Are you caught up to MobLand?
I am not. I am not. I
Slacking.
kind of fell off of
Um,
it.
6 episodes so far. Don't listen to Mac. It's still amazing unless you get really upset like I am about characters. They do so well playing Helen Mirren, who plays Maeve in this show, is so good at making me hate her guts. I hope she dies in this show, not Helen Mirren. I hope she lives on and does great things. Also Eddie, I don't even know the actor's name because he's a fucking knob in the show, and both of them too. I'm just like, I hope y'all get what's coming to you in this show. Tom Hardy is, as Max said, he like spends most of his time fixing this family's problems and not his own family's problems. It is still just
Oh.
that, where he's just fixing the family's problems. But
They
in the
gotta
show,
be paying him a pretty penny, bro. Like,
I
I'm
hope
just
so.
like,
I
how
don't know what
much,
they got
man?
on this man.
Because if
Yeah,
I'm not getting
but
paid eight
I also,
figures or something, I don't think I could be
yeah,
fixing your family's problem like this.
I mean, he lives in a pretty nice area, and his daughter goes to school in a pretty nice school, and his wife doesn't work. So I'm like, he has to be taken care of at
Yeah.
least. But I also think he's just ride or die for Kev. Kev is like the oldest son, and there's been, I don't, or have you? I'm just gonna say everything. Um, Kev's wife is very. She used to be a hookup for Pierce Bronson's character, the main like crime boss, who's like I forgot his name, some something Harrigan, Mr. Harrigan. Um, but Pierce Bronson sleeps around a lot in the show. Well, not in the show, but like in the past. And Kev's wife was one of the girls he slept around with until Maeve found out about her, and then he introduced her to his son Kev, and Kev fell in love with her and married her, and then later found out about his dad screwing his wife. Um, but that being said, she isn't in love with Kev, but she has a crush on Harry in the show, where she keeps like trying to like get Harry to sleep with her. And that's why I say Harry's ride or die for Kev, because he's every time he's like, so anyway, business. The reason you called me over here, what did you need? Oh, you don't need anything. Goodbye. I'm like, see, this man, he is. I don't know if it's just for the family, but I like to say it's just for Kev, and it's through that by proxy is for the family. I'm like, this man, ride or die, just he's just about business, and sometimes that gets him in trouble with his own family, but he's gonna take care of what he needs to take care of. I hope Maeve dies. That's my last thing for Mobland. Gosh, I hope Maeve dies. She's so infuriating. Um, movie wise, I watched
Wait.
Gran
Is
Turismo.
she as
Oh,
bad as Valentina? Because I don't remember you wanting like,
she's worse.
oh
She's
gosh.
so much worse. I'd say I hate her so much more because everything that Maeve does is like. So going back to Bobland, just real quick, just so I can rant a little bit more on it. In the beginning, the show starts off. If you guys don't want spoilers for this, don't watch this part. Just skip ahead. Give me like a minute. In the beginning, it starts off with Eddie Harrigan hanging out with Tommy Richardson, and then Eddie kills him. It doesn't show him on camera, but we find out later that Eddie kills him. Tom Hardy's character Harry is spending the entire time about Tommy Stevenson, sorry, about the entire time about trying to clean up this murder, basically make it so Eddie is not guilty, and he has to deal with Tommy's dad Richie, who's the rival mob boss, and he does it. He pulls it off. They're able to pull it off. There's some mean mugging. There's some like choice words said because Richie knows that Eddie killed his son. He's letting it go, but in the process, he says some slick shit. And Maeve goes up to Richie's wife, Ron, and Ron is like just not having it. Is like spitting venom at her. I'm like, go Ron. Um, that leads to Maeve calling Paul, who's another worker for the family, and then detonates a bomb in Ron's car, killing Ron. So Harry cleans everything up. Just clean sweep. We got everything good. Don't worry about it. No war on our hands. Maeve is like, fuck that. She disrespected me. Kills Richie's wife. Sparks a war. Now the war's going on. Rant's over. That's why I hate Maeve. she undermines everything in the show, that all the progress. She gets so many people killed that don't need to be killed. Hate her. Um, Also, side note to that, this was originally supposed to be a spin-off to Ray Donovan. Do you remember that show with
Yeah.
Lee Schreiber? He it was supposed to be a spin-off to that because Lee Schreiber basically plays the same kind of character as Harry is. He's a fixer for a mob family. It's just in America, and then eventually it became a UK version. So that's kind of where it's coming from. It's created by Ronan Bennett and it's partially directed by Guy Ritchie.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Guy
just
Ritchie,
overall,
that's
I'm
my
enjoying
guy.
it. Yeah, I'm loving it. And then second to last, I'm gonna go try and go quickly through this next one. Gran Turismo, rewatched it. I still think it's a pretty good movie.
So great.
Um, a lot of people did not like it.
I
I
loved
think
it.
they were really expecting a Ford versus Ferrari type movie. I'm like, that's not
Mm,
what this is. This is a movie
yeah.
for the kids that played Gran Turismo the game, and it's based off of a true
Yep.
story. The supporting cast is amazing. David Harbour, Jimon Honso, who is in Never Back Down. I love seeing him every time. He's also in some Marvel movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Orlando Bloom. He's in there. But I think the main thing is it does this job. It makes me want to play Gran
Yep.
Turismo. So I'm like, that's what the movie was made for. That's exactly what the movie was made
Like
for.
it made me like
Um,
when I finished watching, I was like, all right, so how much does that setup cost? Let me get
yeah,
a
I know,
steering
right? I was like,
wheel. Let me
could I get a steering wheel?
like,
I'm like, it's expensive. Oh, but yeah, that's what I was thinking. And yeah, I'd say it's a solid 7.5 for me out of 10.
and then it also was
Um,
like it made me look into like that racing league because I watch F1 just for Lewis Hamilton,
mm-hmm,
and then I watch like
mm-hmm,
NASCAR every now and then. But I was like, wait, what racing league is this? I can't remember it off the
yeah,
top of my head, but I follow like two TikTok profiles about it, and I'm just like, to
mm-hmm,
me, it F1 is cool, NASCAR is cool, but I feel like this racing league is like in the middle of both, to where it has like the
mm-hmm,
cars that look cool, the cars that can like go around the curves like super fast. As because like F1, like they're going around the curves really fast, but it doesn't look like it. But like the aesthetic of
yeah.
this league, the aesthetics of it like makes it look cooler, if that makes
Oh
sense.
yeah.
So like the
I feel like
race league for this looks awesome.
yeah, the league that they're in for Gran Turismo is the same league as the people that love Need for Speed and street racing. Like
Mm,
that's what who is for. Like that league, there's like legal street racing basically, where there's tight turns, there's supercars, everything's tricked out, and also is a competition between like all of the super producers. Because like I think for this one, Nissan was the producer for the Gran Turismo car, and each big car manufacturer has their own car in these leagues. I'm like, see, where for me, I feel like you're watching other stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, everybody is more like based off of the racers, not of the cars. Where these are like this league, I'm like, who has the best specs almost? Like it's still based off the racers, but like also it's where these companies can show their worth of like
mm,
car manufacturing.
I feel you. I
But yeah,
feel you.
Gran Turismo. Maybe I'll go play it later
Yeah,
today.
for real.
I
See
don't know.
now, even talking about it, I'm like, now I want to get the
I know.
game. Like, no.
I know. I just want to go download it. I'll at least play well on the console with the controller.
Right.
Um, Secondary to that, because I am getting back into the games, I've been playing the mess out of Ratchet and Clank. Um, Ratchet and Clank for me is probably my favorite game series as a child, like my legacy series. Like there's Jack and Dexter and Ratchet and Clank and Spyro, Crash Bandicoot. Ratchet and Clank for me is like my top one, just because of how many games it has. It has like 15 to 17 different games of spin-offs, and I played it from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5. And it has a movie even where I'm like this franchise for me has I booted up the first one back from like it's a remake from the 2002 one. I'm like, man, I remembered almost every level. I felt so much nostalgia. It has been such a good game. Basically, it's the premise of it is there's a Lombax who's basically kind of like a he's kind of like a ferret, like a humanoid ferret kind of character.
Hmm.
He's a mechanic. He meets Clank, a super robot that is able to boot up his ship, and then they start going on these adventures with these ships because Clank wants to save the universe because he comes from the manufacturer of a guy trying to destroy not the universe, the galaxy. They end up saving the galaxy. Second game, they go and save another galaxy. Third game, another galaxy, and it's just they keep going, and it gets better and better every game. And yeah, I just love Ratchet and Clank. Just a solid franchise.
I feel you on that.
Whew.
I feel you on that.
Yeah. All right. News. What you got for news, Mac?
Keeping it in the game world, I don't know if this trailer was real or not, but they had a GTA 6 trailer. And I was like, bruh! I was like, how is this not making more noise? I was trying to see like TikToks about it or anything like that. I was just like, is this real? I'm like, because nobody was really saying anything about it. I was just like,
No,
is this
it's
real? I
real.
was like, bruh. And a lot of people are
It's
like,
real.
"Oh, homeboy's an undercover cop." And someone was like, "If he is," they had like an O'Brien picture. It was like, "He better have a skyline up in there or something." You in Miami
I know,
too? I
right?
was like, "Hey, am
You better say "cuz" at least one time.
so like, just keep it out. I was like, "Hey, that's." Yeah, I feel like people have been waiting years for it. So I mean,
Oh yeah,
knowing
it's
it's
been such a
real. Oh man.
it's been such a big meme. It comes out of May of next year, so it comes out in 1 year's time. But the biggest, craziest thing for me is that after they released that, they released another thing saying everything 100% of that trailer was either from gameplay or cutscenes. So it's like 50% gameplay, 50% cutscenes. And if you can go back and look at the trailer, there is so much detail of like there's sweat droplets coming off the beer bottles that they're walking with. When they're walking, the beer inside the bottles are moving and slushing. And everything, I'm just like looking at it, I'm like, this is going to be the most realistic shit ever. Also, shout out to RDC One World, the comedy group. I love them so much. They did a skit recently where they're like, "Man, this thing looks so realistic," and he runs into the apartment, and then he's like, "Wait, this is real life?" And he touches them. He's like, "Yes, oh, you gotta help me, you gotta help me." And then that ties into another GTA. But that reminded me of The Gamer with Gerard Butler, where they would use avatars as a game character. I'm like, we're getting kind of scarily close to that kind of like concept. I'm like,
Oh no.
everything looks a
Oh
little too
no.
realistic.
I feel it.
Yeah,
Do you
but
think, with like how realistic it is, how do you think they're gonna run into the same problem as Cyberpunk, to where you need like the best of the best to like have those graphics on there?
mm, I feel like you'll at least need like current gen stuff like the Xbox Series S or the PlayStation 5 or a gaming computer that can handle it because of how it's supposed to be like at least 200 gigabytes for the game itself. I'm gonna have to buy a extra storage just for it. Uh, but yeah, I think for it you're going to need 4K to be able to run it at what it deserves to be ran at.
Right.
But also, I think it'll be better than Cyberpunk because Cyberpunk has so many delays, and then they after the delays, they they just put it out before it was put out way too soon, and then that caused even more of like there's so many glitches, and then they started rolling patches out later, and that improved it. But coming back from the initial release backlash was hard for them. Where GTA 6 is, they've been announcing this. GTA 5 came out when we were in high school, and I'm like that game, and it's gone from PlayStation 3 all the way to PlayStation 5. So for me, I'm like, okay, this game has lived long enough where they have put so much work into it that it should be fine whenever it releases. It
Gotcha.
should be like good to go for everything. And also, PlayStation 5 has been out and the Xbox Series S has been out long enough that most consumers will have had it by now.
All right. Next up, we got a Netflix original sequel with the MC Charles Theron. I can never say her name, but she's played
Mm.
in a lot of action type movies. She's in Fast and Furious now and everything. So yes, she played Aeon Flux back in the day. Yeah, that was her. Didn't know that till like a couple years ago.
Atomic Blonde.
Yeah, that too. Yes, yes. But yes,
Mm.
the Old Guard 2 is getting a sequel. It's been like 4 years, I think, 3 years, something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
been a
think it's been
minute.
four.
It's been a minute. I liked the first one. It was okay. I didn't like super like it, but I I like the concept that like they get to live forever and then like they kind of don't know when they can die. But then I also hate the concept that it's like they just put their lives on the line. And I'm like, nah, if I could just die whenever, I don't know if I want to, I don't know if I want to do that. And then I always hate the trope of like immortals wanting to protect or change the world. So I'm like, you had 300 years. How do you not have like a company in a sense that like I said, like a Vandal Savage can do it? What have you been doing? So I feel like if you do an immortalized trope, either one, make it to where they don't really care about the world. They just kind of care about themselves. Like, why can't I die? I want to die. So like they want to figure out that mystery, and or two, like make it to where they're trying to take it over the world, or like they're just like out there just living out like their peacefulness, and then like something comes and like drags them back into the world or something. But I don't know. And they're like,
I
even
think
go ahead.
Sorry, I think I because I agree with you. I feel like immortals are more better as side characters or villains. You can't write them as like main characters or like those the same way you're talking about. And or like the two my two favorite immortals are semi immortals is Wolverine because he's had so many times where his memory's been reset, so he's basically not even immortal in the sense of consciousness.
Yeah.
um, and then two Icon from Icon and Rocket,
Hmm.
where it starts off Rocket like goes into this like mansion and she meets this guy. He's kind of just like, hmm, I'm just please leave me alone.
Yeah.
I'm in this world,
Yeah.
and then she sparks something within him to be like, oh, okay, maybe I should start being active. I'm like, see, that's for me, and he's also stupid rich too, and has all this technology. I'm like, that's how you do an immortal. Someone's like very well off, but very
Cut off from the
cut off
world.
from the
Yeah.
world. Yeah, exactly.
Because like I forget, it's this show with the dude that played the old Mister Fantastic, like the '08 ones, and like he's like a doctor or like a coroner or something. But he every time he dies, he revives in like a body of water, and he's just trying to figure out like why he can't die. And I'm like, you could do a story like that, but like when you do make them the hero or even like the villain esque, like the villain esque, I can see more because they're always gonna have a hero to like fight back, so it's gonna make it harder. But like when you're like a hero, I guess you're always gonna have a villain. But like when you're like a hero who's not rich or a hero who doesn't have like things set up for like other things to happen, it makes me it like this makes me so angry because I'm like, no, you could have been doing more. You know you could have been doing more. You just don't want to do more. So that was like one of the tropes I didn't like in the old guard. Is like they're supposed to be like these protectors or like these like mercenaries that like are for good, but it's like you could have like a whole Tibetan monk type esque company or like Ten Rings esque company like Shang Chi, the dad, Ten Rings. Like he had a whole company that made him rich and fearful for years and years. And so like, I'm just like, when you have that trope, it makes me mad. So I do hope the second one is better because she's not immortalized anymore. She can die. But that also makes me wonder how they're going to do the fight sequences because in the first one they use their gosh dog they use their not dying powers a lot and they're fighting. So it's like, can she make that switch to where she's also a great fighter and then not get extremely like hurt to where she has like broke back or broke neck or is dying from like bleeding out. So I feel like that's going to be more interesting than the first one will be because you have that certain death looming over you now. So that I feel like that's going to be pretty cool. Not the hate on Charles Leon or like the old guard. It's just like that trope makes me angry because you want to save the world, but you had 300 years to build essentially a Ten Rings type S company that can save the world from itself, but you kind of decide not to. And then another trope, talking about immortal stuff, if you haven't watched The Sandman, the dude that he gives immortality to, and he tells like his sister Death not to touch type S thing, like he doesn't go on to save the world. He just kind of has like the same S businesses, and he's just living life to the fullest. Like you can be that guy also. You don't have to be an immortal to want to save the world, but when you want to save the world and you've had 400 years to live, it's like, what are you doing? It's like the saying when somebody's like, if you're a vampire, like somebody's like, why are vampires always rich? And somebody was like, well, if you've been alive for 300 years and you're still working a 10-hour shift and you're broke, just go ahead and step out into the sun. Like, let's be real here. Like, what are we doing for 400 years? Like, come on. But
Yeah,
anyways,
inflation ain't that bad. Come
I
on.
like the kite.
I One of my favorite ones is the one with Sandman, and also mainly from the book is where like he does the bet, and he's like he plays the joke on him, and he comes back and visits him like almost I think like every like 50 years or something like that,
Yeah,
and they always meet in the same spot, and you see like all the different cycles of like what you would think someone would be like as an immortal of like, oh, I'm just living it up, like this is so much fun, and the next time you're like, yeah, it's getting a little tiring, and it's almost like happiness, like boredom, acceptance, and then from that fourth stage, you're like, all right, what's now? What's next? What is he doing? And where he's just like, yeah, I own this shop now, and all this and that, and which that's why I like Sandman so much is everything that they talk about is it makes you think a little bit more. Where he's
yeah.
like, humans, they're so scared of death, but then they go to sleep every night and they don't realize how fearful that is. I was like, oh God, now I'm scared to go to sleep a little bit. Like, I'm like, who's coming after me in my dream worlds? But yeah, Sandman killer show. I am looking forward to Old Guard 2 mainly because I'm like in the first one it's almost like Deadpool esque of like she fights as if she cannot die,
Right.
and Deadpool also fights as like he's like, oh, cut me up, break me, whatever you do, he'll come back. And now it's like, oh, you're human. You're now it's like Nice Pool from
Yeah.
Deadpool where he's like, oh yeah, I don't have a healing factor. So it'll
Uh,
be interesting to like see if she adapts to
yeah,
that.
because most I feel like she has to like sequences
I
for
accidentally just paused. I'm sorry.
like you
You're
have
about to.
to change the fighting sequences for that because she can't fight the same way. If she does, she's
Mm-hmm.
dead. Like it wouldn't
Yeah.
make any sense to fight the same way. You know what I mean? Which is, she's been
Yeah. Yeah.
alive for
Exactly.
years, so I hope she has different fighting styles. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
moving on before I just kind of go off on a rant on that.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to go with Together. It's literally called a trailer movie. Together. It's horror, mind trippy esque thriller. Has Dave Franco in it, and I cannot remember the other girl's name. But the premises kind of seems like something's haunting them, or like they're in a house, but like it's seems like it's like fusing their bodies together or something like that. Yeah, it's very like scary, trippy. Because like she, you just gotta go watch it because it's so trippy. Because like they'll like have like somebody like staring at each other and their face gets closer, and then like their eyes like start to like fucking come together and everything like that. And there's like a scene where like Dave Franco's taking a shower and then like the girl's like driving and she takes her right and like his body just slams into like the right side of the wall. So it's very it's crazy because it seems like it's a horror movie that's like your loved one or your other half, they say, and it's like you're literally coming together to be one. It's very trippy esque, but yes.
If I see someone's eyeball touching another person's eyeball, I'm going to stop the movie. I promise you that. If someone's eyeball touches another person's eyeball, I'm done. I'm not watching shit else. That is like the craziest of grossness. I'd rather watch Human Centipede again than see that happening. Because also, side fact, science fact, eyeball of the human body has a different immune system than the rest of the body.
Yeah.
And if your brain knew that your eyeballs existed, you would go blind instantly. So you want to touch somebody else's eyeball with your eyeball? No, no, no.
So moving on. I'm going to go to another horror movie that I feel we all kind of love, the Conjuring franchise. You
That
see,
was on
like,
my list.
I when I see the trailer, bro. So I guess we can both talk about it. When I see the trailer, I was like, "No, it's ending." I was like,
It's ending, but
"Why?"
it's gone so long.
Uh,
But I also know, like, I'm hoping with them announcing this is the final one that they go out all. I hope it brings me back to like the original Conjuring movies,
oh, most
where like all the Conjuring movies, maybe because it shouldn't be the ending for the universe, because we just had like the Nun 2, and we have Annabelle, and we have something else. What was it? Another one that was
I
next
feel
to
like
it.
it's gonna be the ending for the actors. I feel like they just kind of want to
Mm.
move on to something else, or they're just kind of done with it. Because I believe the lead actress, she's like in a band or something like that. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think she's like a singer for a band. So I feel like they're just kind of, I don't want to say done with it. I feel because like they've also been like years apart. So I feel like maybe like in 3 years they're like, hey, you guys want to come back and do like a
Mm-hmm.
story that was before that one or something like that. I don't know. They might, but like again, these two actors, I could not do it. There's no way you can have me acting this out, and this is based off of like real stories and real events, and then you want me in the
Oh
thing.
yeah.
I know like those are props in like the other room, but I'm like, nah, 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 nah. You're giving these props a story of like an
Yeah.
evilness to it. So like, I had to give
For
props to
me,
these actors,
it's
bro.
the fact that it's like the guy Ed Warren, who like the guy that plays him, Patrick Wilson,
Mm.
is also the main guy from the Insidious series. I'm like, you want to star
Oh
in
yeah,
two horror series, and you don't think something's following you
yeah,
home?
that's
You
crazy.
didn't create some kind of evil spirit to follow you home on these sets. No,
Hey,
no.
you never know.
That
Maybe he's already like has like had interactions with things like that, and he could just have a guardian angel, and he's like, "Hey, nobody else can take these roles because I have an actual guardian angel. I'll take them. I got you, fam." Maybe he's just taking that bullet for other people. I don't know.
nah,
Yeah, because
nah,
I'm like you.
nah.
That's a little scary, bro. Like
Pushing it.
my kids, bro. Like when kids be playing in horror movies, there's no way I can have my kid play in a horror movie.
Oh
I
yeah,
might
I'm
have to
like
punch my
you.
kid
How?
if they if they're playing
Yeah,
a horror movie. They try to play a joke on me. Nah, kid, my kid might get punched one day if they try to do some shit like that.
yeah.
But yeah, those parents are brave letting like just children playing horror movies like that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Moving on. My last
Sorry.
thing. My last thing. Oh no, wait, the second last. Second last. This is gonna be real quick because it wasn't even a trailer. It was a teaser trailer. Godzilla and Kong Supernova. It wasn't even a trailer. It was literally like the military S thing beeping, and then it's like shows like something like from outer space or whatever coming, and then it shows like Godzilla, Kong, and like supernova under it. People say it's supposed to be Space Godzilla. Again, I know nothing about the books, comic books, old movies of Godzilla. I didn't even know there was supposed to be a Space Godzilla. I kind of thought we were just gonna get more monsters from like the crust theory type Earth like world and like more underwater monsters. But nope, I guess we're gonna get another space monster because I believe the dragon from Godzilla Kings of Monsters, he was also from space. So I guess we're gonna get another space monster that's coming down. I don't know. I'm pretty excited to see it. I love the Godzilla movies just because I just like giant fucking kaiju's fighting each other and shit like that. So yeah, I feel like that's gonna be dope. I hope it is a little bit more. I like Kong, but I also just want Godzilla and Kong to kind of have their own movies every now and then come together, and then have their own movie, and then come together. Yeah, but last but not least, this last thing, the long walk, and I believe it's who's the guy that like writes the horror movies like it and stuff like or the horror books. Art
Stephen King.
Stephen King. I believe it's like one of his first published books. Might be his first published book. But I seen the trailer, and when I first seen when the first trailer first starts, I'm thinking, oh, it's like a military esque movie because you see like these kids, and then you see like military people around them, like guns and everything. And I'm like, oh, it must be like a military type movie. Like it's gonna be like a period emotional type piece. And then like they're walking, and then the military is following them, and then a guy starts cramping up, and like they're like, oh, keep your eyes on me, like follow me. And then he stops, and they like tell him to get up, and then bam, they shoot him. And everything after that point changes. I was like, yo, what the heck? But everybody says like the book is really, 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 really good. And I don't know, like the movie seems like it's gonna be really, really good because they gotta keep walking till everybody drops. There's only one that survives. And like the winner gets like money. And I'm like, there's no way I'd sign up for this. I was like, I couldn't. I was like, I couldn't. And then it seems a lot of people say like in the book, two of the guys like kind of like fall in love or like there's at least like queerness to like the two guys. And so like you see the two guys in the trailer and you're just like, I don't know how I could walk, fall in love with somebody, then know that they're gonna die. Or know that I'm gonna die. You know how sad that is? To fall in love with
Yeah,
somebody within those like couple days and then know they're gonna die. Nah, bro, that's some sad shit right there, bro.
Can I wonder if they can like sabotage each other? Of like you'll see like them sabotaging each other or something like that.
Uh,
I did just look at the cast list, and Ben Wong is
yeah.
in that one. So Karate Kid, yeah, Marilyn Moore Chinese, and also Mark Hamill is in it. Who he's also in Stephen King's other movie. Dang, I don't think it's Secret Life of Chuck. I think it's just called Life of Chuck. Yeah, Life of Chuck. Mark Hamill's also on that one. So that's two Stephen King movies being produced. Mark Hamill's in both of them. I'm like,
Nice,
oh,
nice, nice.
good to see. Good to see.
But yes, that is my last thing. That is my last thing.
All right. I'm surprised we didn't have as much overlap. I did have GTA 6 and I did have Conjuring on there, but I have three other movies. News alert, they're movies. Um, and that one is Honey Don't, which is seemed like a pretty interesting kind of it's like a detective comedy movie. It kind of reminded me of some of the old movies, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it has Chris Evans in it, and it is a detective comedy film. And I think Ethan Cohen is the director,
Wait, is Chris Evans like
and
a
it
cult leader dick in this? Yeah,
yeah,
I
he's
got
cult
that.
leader in this one. Yeah, and it also has Aubrey Plaza and Margaret Qualley in it, and Charlie Day.
No.
So I think I'm looking forward to that one, just in the sense of like it seems like one of those kind of weird, funny movies where it's like it reminds me of like The Big Lebowski almost. Uh,
Mm,
Another one called Highest to Lowest is coming out. That one is by Spike Lee, and it's a neo noir crime thriller, and it has Denzel Washington
mm,
and ASAP Rocky is also in it, and also Ice Spice is in it.
mm.
Um, so,
Interesting.
and also Jeffrey Wright, who was just recently in the new episode of The Last of Us, he's in it as well. But Spike Lee, he's gonna kill it
Yeah.
as a producer and director, of course. So I'm looking forward to that one. I'm just be like, what's going?
I'm surprised like
What's it going to be?
Denzel doesn't try to do more projects with his son. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I know it's like
But I feel like
nepotism,
it's common.
but like
Yeah.
I would like if I would have a project, I would want to do it with my son in a sense like he gets more reps of acting,
Mm-hmm.
and then he gets more reps of being in that field. Like I wouldn't coddle him, but
Mm-hmm.
I would like try to find something that he can do just so he can get more reps at it, and then be in that more
Yeah.
field. I don't know. Maybe his son doesn't need it because his son also was a pro football player. So shout out to that dude. Was like on the Raiders. He was
Yeah.
third string, but he was still a part of a pro team. But yeah, I don't know. I would just like think of like, and I know like we talk about like nepotism a lot, and like people talk about nepotism a lot. But I'm like, if they're good at it, or if they can't, or if they're willing to get good at it, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like why not? Why not use it in a sense? I don't know. Maybe Denzel
Yeah.
also doesn't want to do that, and like he wants his son to kind of find his own name for it and his own way for it.
And not be connected to it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost it because the only person I am thinking of that like did that and did it like leaned into it hard was Will Smith. And with Jaden's like original like couple acting careers, in which he did when Jaden was like younger, but I remember how badly After Earth flopped for a lot of people, and I'm like I feel like other people are like they're like ooh we don't want to do that because I think that was one Jaden Smith's last acting roles where I think he was done after that. I'm like you run into the issue of if this flops and you did it with your father, and that could be like I don't want to act anymore, almost. So I don't know, but hopefully he eventually does. I feel like that would be more of a Twilight era, like oh I'm getting ready to stop doing movies. Let me do a movie with my
That
son.
like that's also one reason why I'm like kind of like why he doesn't do it because like Denzel's not the youngest father. Like
Yeah,
he's getting up there. Like I don't know, I would be like, damn, dad, like we gotta at least do one movie together. Like, because
yeah, at least
I don't
one.
think
Come
they've been in
on.
like one. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they've been in one movie together. And I'm like, nah, dad, we gotta do
Mm,
one. Like, come on, we could find
yeah,
something to do together.
yeah. Hopefully he does. But secondary to that, also rewind highest and lows is Apple Plus TV. Just letting you know. And it's also produced by A24. A24 has made a huge burst of fame in a lot of their movies. They're becoming like a pretty not like well. They're still like a smaller company, but they're becoming a. Every time someone sees it, they're like, oh, A24, because of how popular the movies have gotten. Secondary to that is the Unholy Trinity. Oh, sorry, the Unholy Trinity, which is Pierce Bronson, who I love, and Samuel L. Jackson is starring in, and is a Western movie coming out.
Mm.
So I'm a pretty big fan of Western movies. I think it's how much like my dad watched them whenever I was growing up. Basically, it's a buried treasure revenge movie of the
Mm.
1870s in Montana, and Isaac Broadway gives his estranged son Henry a task to murder a man who framed him for a crime he didn't commit. That's the synopsis. But it says initial release was October 12th, 2024, but I don't think it's been released yet.
Oh, yeah, I haven't heard it. What is it called?
Unholy Trinity.
Heard anything about that? What? There's no way, bro. No, I don't think
Someone
anybody.
else is saying June 13th, 2025, which I would like to think.
I haven't heard anybody talk about it either.
Okay, no, it is June 13th.
Okay, and I was like, you can't watch it anywhere. I was like, there's no way it already dropped.
Yeah, with Samuel L. Jackson and Pierce Bronson, it
Yeah.
has to be something. But for some reason, Google is also saying October 12th. But I don't know what that one is. Um, Maybe it got released in a. Because not even. World premiere was October 12th, 2024 in the Zurich Film Festival. So it's been released to film festivals, but not to like consumers.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah. But moving on from that, sorry, that took a little side train.
Did you see the Peacemaker trailer for season 2?
Oh no, I didn't. That's
So
news.
yeah, I don't know. I forgot about that until just now. But Hawk
Yeah.
Girl and Nathan Fillion's Green Lantern, and I forgot who else was in it, but they're there like interviewing Peacemaker to like be a part of their like team or whatever. And I
Hmm.
like it, but I hate it because I'm kind of
Hmm.
like, are they supposed to be the Justice League? What is
I,
this?
yeah, I think everyone's theory is it's Max Lord's superhero team of like it might be called the Justice League, but it ain't gonna be the Justice
Right.
League.
And like I also hate that too because I don't see damn, I can't even think of his name right now. Nathan Fillion's Green Lantern taking orders.
Greg Gardner.
Yeah, taking orders like that in a sense,
Yeah, no, I agree.
especially how much loyalty he has to the Green Lantern Corps in the comic books. But then
Mm.
I can also see it happening if they go with the storyline of Maxwell Lord having like his power to where like he's kind of able to
Mind
sway
control
people.
power.
Yeah. So I can
Yeah,
see that if that's where they're going with. But then it's also like that's not Superman's enemy in this movie.
yeah. I also with the same thing. I wouldn't like the mind control piece mainly because I feel like mind control is also based off of like willpower, and a Green Lantern
Yeah.
being mind controlled is like kind of like, and also a Hot Girl being a Themyscirian, or if it depends on like which lore they go with. If she's just a human that's been reborn, it might be something like that. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see which how they explain a lot of these things, and that's why I'm like I am very looking forward to it in the sense of like I want to know what they do to explain it, but also I am afraid it's not going to live up to what I think the DC universe deserves
Yeah.
as a
Because it's
franchise.
definitely feeling like a Marvel slash Guardians of the Galaxy knockoff bootleg. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
literally what and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's already there. Why are you getting a rip off version of it?
yeah.
Like it's there. If I want to
DC
see
was
that, I could
also
just go watch
never,
MCU.
yeah, DC was also never like the MCU, which like also I don't know. It's like MCU back in the day, like old MCU. I always considered MCU almost darker than DC in a sense of like they were never afraid to like kill for like the main characters like Thor, Hulk, and Wolverine, who were like some main Marvel hitters back in the day. They were always fine with killing in their like comics, where DC was always like, nope, heroes are defined by not killing people. But the MCU is a very light-hearted, like la 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 kind of like universe, and then DC somehow shifted to being a darker universe. But in reality, DC is supposed to be more of a
Hopeful.
moral pillar, hopeful kind of universe. So I don't know. I'm looking. I'm going to try my hardest to walk in there with an open mind, but I have some expectations
Yeah,
too.
it definitely. I'm walking in there with an open mind, but I'm definitely gonna be harsh on it because I've been a DC fan since freaking forever. I've always been told people like, nah, DC's gonna catch up to Marvel. Like, don't worry about it. This is their year. So
Yeah.
Superman has to be, to me. Superman has to be like up there. But like from the stuff I'm already
Oh yeah.
seeing, I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna be up there for me. But I feel like it's gonna be up there for other people just because it's gonna give off like the MCU vibes. And I'm like, no, I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
MCU already has that. Give me like DC stuff, bro. I don't know. But that's all I got. That's all I got.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. If you guys like that episode, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Right before we take off, I forgot to mention next week's box battles is going to be the same kind of concept for Nickelodeon, but for Cartoon Network. So, who's the face of Cartoon Network? We'll do something similar as we did this week. But look forward to that episode coming out next week, next Tuesday after you see this one. But appreciate your viewership, your opinions. Leave them down below. If you agree with us, let us know. If you don't, also let us know. We'd like to see what other people think. But we appreciate you guys. Without anything else, peace.